what I want to do is I want to shift, since you're the operational guy on the back end, and just kind of talk a little bit about how networking has shaped the, like, almost like the fulfillment side of your business. So the new construction that you're doing, the renovations, those kind of things. You mentioned the pre-show a little bit of networking has kind of driven your business. So how has that happened, and what could you share with some others to help them do the same?
When I look at our business and our growth of our business, networking has been the foundation, from finding our contractors, finding our realtors, finding our deals. And it goes without saying that when we have asked these people questions, we came to them saying, hey, would you help us? We don't know what we're doing. Do you know somebody that I need to know? And people were so kind enough to refer us to somebody else. Like, for example, last year, we did not even have any new construction projects, and we didn't even think of it. We bought a duplex and a lot, and we had already taken a lot of homes down to studs. So we considered, why not just go into try a new build construction? All we need is the foundation, the lumber package, and a framer. So we bought a lot last June, and we broke ground in November, and that house is about ready to go on the market in about a week or two. And we've learned a lot through that process. It's not going to be that great from a margin standpoint, but it was free education. But during this process, we met the Hardy Siding guy, who referred us to another framer that we reduced our cost. We talked to that framer. He referred us to somebody else, for drywall or interior painting. And it's just being kind enough, asking these people, hey, can you help us? Do you know someone I need to talk to? And they've been more than willing to help. It's when we talk about networking, when we put their interests first, and when we care about them, and it's just not a business transaction, but we find out about them and their likes and dislikes and how their company and our company can meld together, then it becomes more of a partnership than a business transaction. And that is how our business has really exploded, is by just all those relationships.
So you guys did one, and you said the margin wasn't that big. So what do you think the margin will be on that first one? Because I want to take this somewhere.
We'll probably make maybe $20,000 on that first project.
Okay, making $20,000. What are the next? You have all these other new construction projects. What do those look like?
House number 2, we should be making about 60 to 70,000. House number 3, potentially 100,000. Houses 4 through 8, about 35 to 40,000 a piece, and then houses 9 through 12, about 75,000 a piece.
Okay, so I'm fair at math, but you're somewhere in the $500,000 to $600,000 range. Actually, maybe more with 100, probably like $700,000 range.
Correct.
With all of those projects. So make 20 for an education and a mindset shift that this can happen. Are those projects more difficult and challenging to manage, or less challenging to manage than a full-on gut rehab that you've been doing?
Overall, a new build construction is a lot easier to manage, but it's a lot longer of its time span, about 8 to 9 months. On a new build construction, there is more front-end work that is the time consuming. And once you break ground, if you have your systems in place and your contractors lined up, it's smooth sailing after that. There rarely are any unknowns, so you can systematically stack your contractors.
Okay, so a little bit easier to manage once you break ground. So significantly easier to manage than all the what ifs, the contingencies, those kind of things. Usually the contingencies are up front. So what is the soil like? What is the ground when you start digging? These kind of things, problems, issues that come up, zoning, all that stuff, dealing with the city, permitting, all this kind of things. So once you have that stuff done, then it's easier process. And so who listening to this would take a $20,000 profit for their first one, and you'd be a little bit scared and not sure how it's going to go. And then $700,000 over the next year of easier work than you were already doing. I mean, it sounds like a no-brainer to me, but it's still, for me, this shift that I have to make in my mind of, I've never done it. I can't do it. I'm not sure how to do it. And then, like you said, finding the person who does, like who already knows how to do that stuff.
And when I spoke in Cancun on this topic, it's I said, if somebody wants to go into this, expand your network now. Start asking the questions. Talk to your realtor. Talk to your current subs. Just start asking the questions and finding out who should I be talking to and building that network. And it makes it so much easier down the road. We're still encountering new things as we're doing new builds in different cities and different requirements. But it's just knowing who I can call to get that question answered has been very, very beneficial.
So if somebody's out there flipping houses right now, what would you recommend? Like, who are the people that they should talk to first? You mentioned expand your network now. So where does that start, and what specifically should they be looking to do? Like kind of step by step, how would you recommend that they get going in new construction potentially?
We rely on our realtors a lot, and our two realtors have been great sources for who should we be talking to. Secondly, finding a land consultant that really has an in with the city to get permits approved, and what steps need to take place ahead of time, because that is where about 45 to 60 days are invested. Utilizing your current subs, that is an untapped resource. Get to know them, ask them if who they know, and just talk to people. Anybody you come across, just talk. Hey, I'm looking at building a new home. Do you know anybody that is a framer? Do you know anybody that is a roofer, a drywaller? All of us have electricians, HVACs, plumbing, but it's just what lumber company should I partner with? What framer should I partner with? What foundation company should I partner with? And then the land consultant. Those are just really the four things, if you're on the renovation side, that you need to expand your network in.
And how does the realtor get excited about helping you on these and putting different people in touch? Are you paying them on the listing? You letting them have the listing? Like, what does that look like?
We have two realtors, and yes, they will get the listing, and we've negotiated rates down low with them because of the amount of volume, but they know what is in that area. They know what finishes we should have. They know kind of from a design standpoint if we are going down a wrong track. And then they also know in their network who is a good builder, who is a good framer, through their pool of agencies.
And are these really experienced agents? Like, what would I look for if I was in the market to try to find some of these folks, and where would I look?
It depends on the area where these homes are going. One of our areas an agent is in a very trendy area, so we try to look at the houses that they have listed, and our particular realtor, her husband's a builder as well, so we've been very fortunate through that network that she has built homes with her husband, and so she kind of knows what every neighborhood needs and is looking for. So we try to match what is already there. We don't try to be the Lone Ranger in this area.
And what about those land consultants? Like, where do you find somebody like that? How do they get paid? What do they do?
We found ours through another network of ours. It's just there are companies that will permit for you, and it usually is about $750. But you can do any Google search for them. But there are companies out there that will take you through the whole permit process. You just got to find the right one that has an in and that can place the value in you to speed the process along.
And would you ask those folks questions like before you bought the lots and properties and stuff like that, like to kind of get to know the area a little bit and pick their brain? Or is it just like call them right when I have a lot that I'm buying and you already knew what the value was and things like that?
We kind of already know the value, but that's where we kind of rely on our realtor before we buy it. Hey, this is what we're thinking. This is the price of the home. These are the type of finishes. Will the ARV support it? So what we have done is we kind of work backwards. If we know what our ARV is, we kind of know what our costs are, then we can see what we can pay for the lot, and then what our gross profit is. So we work backwards when it comes to this. But yes, you do need to know what zoning the lot is, because if you have to go through rezoning, that adds about 6 weeks. Um, and additional cost for that. You need to know about utilities, if they're on site or if they have to do street cut, and the additional cost for those. When you're asking those questions and learning the process, you know what to do on the second house or the third house, so that you're constantly saving time. And that is where the value comes, so that you don't have to keep going back to your designer. You don't have to keep going back to the survey company, changing the plot plan and different things. That's where the value comes, by asking the questions. Oh, they need this added to the plot plan. Okay, now I know next time. And it's worth the value.
Yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it? You make $20,000. I love your comment. Like, that's a learning experience. We're not making as much as we want. The margins aren't there, but we learn a ton. I think about that all the time. For these first time flippers, they're so scared, or wholesalers or anybody. So I'm afraid to go out there and do this thing because I'm not going to make 40 or 50 or $60,000. It's like, break even, make 10 grand, make 20 grand, do it. The difference between 0 and 1 for you guys specifically, that 0 new construction to 1 new construction. Now you have the belief that you can do it. You took more action. You continue to build that. It worked well for you. You said, I can see this being successful in the future. Let's do more of this. If it didn't work out well for you and you guys hated it, then you wouldn't continue to do it. But that leap from doing none to doing 1 is so big. And the belief pattern that we have in our head is really what propelled you to do, dozens of these things now. And for those that are listening that are still kind of like plugging along and having trouble getting that first deal, it really is that mindset change from 0 to 1. Adam Whitney was on this podcast a couple of weeks ago, and he took 6 months to do that first deal, and now he's got like 4 done and 5 done. He's knocking on my door at the event saying, I want to move up to altitude. I want to move up to altitude. I was like, get these things done. Like, get yourself to your 10 deals, get consistent, build a foundation. Talk to me in a month. Let's see where you are. But you can see how it just kind of explodes once that belief pattern changes, because you take more action, you see more results, and that pattern continues to go on. So really cool stuff. Any last kind of thoughts on networking or anything else that you guys have done in the business that you think would be helpful to the listeners?
Just kind of a motto that I kind of live by, and your network equals your net worth. And it doesn't go the opposite way, because when you network, you're putting other people's interests first. You're asking them, you're finding out about them. And then as you grow your network, your net worth will grow with it. Yeah,
I love that. And I'll say, if you authentically care about other people and they see that, then there's this law of reciprocity, that they're going to want to do something nice for you in return. Yeah. And it's not, if you go into it like, what can you do for me? That you're not a very good networker. If you show up and say, I need, I want. When people see that you truly care about helping them, and it really is like, you're helping that. Yeah, the framer is going from, $12 to $5 for you guys, but you are helping give that person jobs, opportunities. The realtor is taking a lower commission because they want to work with you. They want to see you succeed because they know they'll succeed as well. And they really do believe that you have their interests at heart. We talked about that on the last podcast. We talked about it in Cancun. If people truly believe that you're not out for self-gain, then they are going to want to continue to work with you and continue to be in your circle. And I think that's the most important thing that we can remember as business owners and leaders, is truly care about other people, and you'll be fine. Like, things will come back. You will do really, really well in this business. And those that are, just out for self-gain, very transactional in life and business, they're not going to get very far. And they might make a little bit of money in the beginning. They might make some money over time, but ultimately it's going to catch up to them big time.
Absolutely.
Well, Kent, thanks for hanging out with us. What are some ways that people can get a hold of you? Maybe they want to buy a brand new construction house in Indianapolis. Maybe they want to find somebody to lend money to, be partners with. Like, what are you guys looking for, and how can folks be a part of it?
People can reach me at muelleravon@gmail.com. I was telling Bill earlier, yes, I finally got a Gmail account. I'm not an AOL person anymore. Or 317-430-6780. I'm more than happy to help and give you our Gantt charts and, costing and, steps that we've learned along. It's a fun process. I understand what you were saying, Bill. It's a mind shift change. It's, and you've seen the amount of rehabs that we did, that we took them down to studs. So we only had, like I said, 3 or 4 things. So all we had to do is get over those 3 or 4 things, mindsets, and then just learn. And it is fun. It is fun. And that's what I love about this, is that before, in these areas, it was just a piece of dirt. And now we're transforming the communities with brand new homes.
Yeah, I love it. I can't believe you gave your phone number out on the podcast. We'll see how that goes.
Hey, maybe I'll ring.
Yeah, maybe it will. Maybe some people want to network with you. And so we talked about the 7-figure altitude group. We talked about the runway group a little bit, talked about Cancun, all the places, and we're talking about networking. So like, what better place to network than with folks just like us? Like, we brought Kent on the podcast, we brought Vaughn on the podcast, a couple other folks. The majority of our podcast guests are members of our mastermind group. And we would love it if you have some things to share, I would love to have you, if you believe what we believe, if you hear this and are like, man, I want to network with these folks. We'd love to have new people come in and share some of the things that they're doing, because you're probably doing something that some of us aren't and we don't know about. And every time we bring a new member in, like Kent, for example, or Vaughn, or some of these other folks, they're doing something that's kind of mind blowing and helps the whole group. The collective group that we have is so powerful. So Kent mentioned his growth and the mindset change and stuff. And that wasn't because of me or my talks at the event. It was because of all the people that he was networking with at these events and in the Facebook group and on our monthly calls and things like that, and in the accountability groups. So we'd love to invite you, to have you guys, if you're listening to this and you're like, man, I want to be a part of that, or figure out if I'm a good fit and we're a good fit for you, just go to 7figurealtitude.com. You can fill out an application and check it out. So the number 7figurealtitude.com. Check it out. We'd love to have you at the next event that we're doing in July in Park City, Utah. Meet you, get to know you, and now you have Kent's phone number, so you got one of the folks that you can contact. But we got a lot of really great people in the group, and we'd love to kind of connect you, network with them, and see what that does for your net worth. And that's really it. Like, we're looking to find freedom. Our goal at 7-Figure Flipping is to figure out what your freedom goal is and how can we help you get there. Put you in the right room, meet the right people, network with those folks, give you the tools. We have some really cool surprises for in store for the July event. We're inviting somebody. I'll probably announce it here in a little bit, but it's going to be really cool. We got something big in store for our members, and it's going to be exciting. So go to 7-Figure. First step is to go to 7figurealtitude.com, fill out an application, and you can talk to us and see if we're the right fit. If we're not, and you're not ready for altitude, then we'll just give you a couple steps that we think that you can take, whether it's free resources, some cheaper stuff that we have to get you ready and get you up to that level. So until then, I'll see you guys on the next podcast. Thanks, Kent.
Thanks, Bill.